My husband and I, both 26, recently hosted a family dinner to announce our pregnancy. It's important to add that my husband doesn't have a close relationship with his father, but we keep him around because he still has 3 minor siblings we love and care for. Although my father-in-law is the type of person that still thinks women should serve men at dining times, like he has to be served first because he's the breadwinner and crap like that, we usually don't care since we mostly ignore them. However, this time my family was present, and we consider he messed around and found out. My dad is my favourite person in the world. My mom died when I was little and my dad took care of my older sister and me. They're the only family I have left. At dinner, my husband and I cooked things we knew our families would like. The first issue started when my father-in-law tried to sit at one of the heads of the table and my husband said no. So he sat at one and I sat at the other, my father and sister on either side, and him with his brothers, so my father-in-law was in the middle and didn't like it. The second problem and the cause of all this are that everyone was kind of serving themselves. However, my dad has a damaged nerve on his right hand and he struggles when holding spoons and forks and such. My sister brought him a Parkinson-friendly cutlery set that he brings around, but a big spoon for serving is still hard for him. So I offered to serve his plate while my sister served him his drink and then we all sat down to eat and chat. 3 or 4 minutes after that, my father-in-law asks out loud, "Is no one going to serve me my plate?" And my husband looks at him confused and says, "No, we don't do that here." My mother-in-law just gets up in a hurry and takes his plate, but my father-in-law says no and that the hostess did it for her father so she can do it for me. And I say, "Yes, my father who has an injured hand, you're fine." He says that he won't eat then and I just shrugged and said that he could starve and I didn't care. He left with my mother-in-law and while everyone agreed with me, my own father said that it was a disrespectful thing to say and I should apologize for the way I did it. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your father-in-law needs to know not everyone follows his misogynistic views, and in someone else's home, he doesn't get to act that way. If his own wife wants to be his servant, that's her choice. In your home, you make the call, and his attitude is messed up, so you need to make sure he doesn't treat you the same way he treats his wife. Actually, I might have just served him, like this. "Or does Paw Paw want some din-dins? Here you go, little man, now eat all your veggies or you don't get dessert." Behave like a child, get treated like a child. I'd love to see that. Actual traditional values would mean you respect the host and hostess as well as offer to help them. Plus, OP just announced she was pregnant. The arrogance of father-in-law to ask a now-known pregnant lady to help him. What the heck? That would never go down in an actual traditional household. This guy is just an egotistical buffoon. Kudos to your dad for raising someone with a shiny spine. Who assumes they're going to sit at the head of the table at someone else's house during a gathering they're not hosting? An idiot, I guess. Damn, that takes some next-level amount of self-centered entitlement. I can only imagine how he will act if OP has a daughter. Also, he got up and left before the announcement. So extra. Did you later let him know the purpose of the dinner? Did your mother-in-law miss the announcement as well? If so, I feel a bit bad for her being tied to this piece of work. They don't live that far from us, so nah. Yeah, he later found out but didn't care much because we offended him. But the rest of the family was so happy and my dad cried. LOL. It was a good time. My sister-in-law already wants to help me prepare the nursery and asked if she could make some sort of mural. My teen daughter Riley does not like one of her teachers, Miss Adams. This was a bit surprising to me as the teacher has an excellent reputation and has helped out so many kids in bad situations and is just a generally nice person. But my daughter hates her. She'll rant about how annoying she is for ages, but she's never given an actual reason. So I tell her she's allowed to rant and all that, but don't say these things to her face and don't go too far. I hated some teachers I now respect and understand during my childhood, so I didn't think it was a major issue. Well, I got a call from Riley while she was at school and she was begging me to pick her up. I arrived immediately, but she refused to tell me what had happened. She did crack eventually, though. She told me that Miss A was having a conversation with another student and she mentioned one of her son's names. So Riley quickly looked them up on social media and went up to her teacher and asked if he was her son. Miss Adams said yes, hesitantly apparently, and then Riley started laughing and said some really mean things about her son. To be specific, she called him anorexic and skeleton-like. Turns out the boy did have anorexia. Miss Adams got upset and asked her to please work in the library for the remainder of the period. I was horrified, and it was clear that my daughter was feeling apologetic, but geez, this was insanely disrespectful. I told Riley that she was grounded and that she needed to apologize to Miss Adams immediately. I then told her I wouldn't be buying her concert tickets. She got really upset and was like, how was I supposed to know? But that just makes me more upset because it would still be wrong even if you weren't anorexic. She cried and cried about the concert and called me really mean. My husband thinks the grounding is fine, but the concert tickets are overdoing it. He thinks it probably isn't a huge deal because Miss Adams just sent Riley to the library and didn't send her to the office or anything, and I'm doing too much. I don't know. Am I the idiot? If it matters, I had anorexia when I was younger, so I might be reacting emotionally. Or at least my husband and daughter say so. Not the idiot. OMG, please nip this in the bud and enforce the no concert tickets as punishment. Your daughter is boldly and sociopathically bullying her teacher. She made the comments with the intent to be hurtful. The fact that one was close to the truth is moot. You need to get to the root of why she's doing something so inexplicably cruel. Not only that, she almost certainly looked up Miss Adams' son on social media to expressly say something hurtful to or about him. That's just so incredibly mean. It demands a strong response. If the teacher had shown a pic of her son and the daughter said it without thinking, it might be different. But she went out of her way to find the teacher's son and commented about his looks unnecessarily. I wouldn't be surprised if Miss Adams asked for Riley to be moved to another class. If someone intentionally said hurtful things about my child to torment me, I would find it challenging to remain fair and unbiased as a teacher should be. Also, the girl is old enough to know right from wrong as well. Right? The girl needs therapy instead of concert tickets for her actions. Her behaviour is very alarming. OP needs to stand her ground and not backtrack after her daughter went to great lengths to purposely hurt her teacher. I personally would have banned the girl from my class for her outright disrespect, making me uncomfortable and even unsafe in my own work environment. The daughter has to learn her actions have consequences and needs help. My ex-wife has majority custody of my daughter Corinne, nearly adult. Corinne only comes to our house every other Monday and Tuesday and weekend. Then she spends the next week entirely at my ex-wife's. My stepdaughter Mackenzie, 20 female, lives full-time at my and my new wife's house. I want to mention that my ex-wife makes almost triple what I make. I'm certainly not poor, and my new wife and I are upper middle class. On the other hand, my ex-wife and her new husband aren't strapped for cash. Corinne got her driver's license last week, but she's had a car that my ex-wife bought her since she got her permit about a year ago. Before she bought it, my ex-wife wanted me to split the costs of the car with her. I told her no because it was ridiculous that she would expect me to pay 50% for a car coming to my house less than a quarter of the time. That's like paying full rent on a house and only being allowed to live in it half the time. My ex-wife was able to pay for the car on her own anyway. Corinne just got her license and I was excited because she would be able to drive herself to and from school. However, my ex-wife will not allow Corinne to take her car to our house. I've tried reasoning with my ex-wife because Corinne has a license now and she shouldn't have to waste time taking the bus on days when she's going to and from houses. My ex-wife is being childish and saying that if I wanted Corinne to be able to bring her car here, then I need to split the gas and insurance with her. I told my ex-wife I was willing to split the gas costs, but I should not have to split insurance when she's chosen the insurance company and policy while I did not even get a say in it. A family friend, Lydia, calls me a hypocrite because I ultimately bought Mackenzie's car and paid for the insurance and gas. Mackenzie's biological father is a bum. She doesn't have another well-off parent to pay for it as Corinne does, and besides, Corinne's here only a quarter of the time. I told Corinne this, and if she wants me to buy her a car, we can always go back to court and try to get more custody time at my house. Corinne hasn't complained about it anyway. But Lydia says it's not the point, and Corinne will feel replaced if I refuse to split costs with my ex-wife while paying fully for Mackenzie. But Corinne has not complained about feeling replaced or about the car arrangement. Besides, Corinne and Mackenzie have treated each other like best friends for a few years now, and I highly doubt that will change over a car Corinne knows Mackenzie's other bio parent can't afford. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot a million times. The argument that you shouldn't have to pay because the car is only at your house a quarter of the time is the stupidest. It will be in your daughter's possession 100% of the time, and you're responsible for 50% of her care, regardless of what her mother earns in proportion to your income. The irony of his stepdaughter's bio-father being a deadbeat who won't pay for his daughter because his ex is wealthier is not lost on me, but seems to be on OP. I actually think ex-wife should refuse to allow Corin to drive there or take the bus. OP has to pick her up every time. You are the idiot. Your daughter isn't a timeshare, you donkey. Seriously, what a pinecone. You're not only the idiot, but you're also a deadbeat bum of a dad. You don't have to be poor to pour your upper middle class money into your new family. You brag about what you have, then nickel and dime your ex-wife, the mother of your child, over insurance and gas. You also have the nerve to bully her about court and custody. I wish you would. That judge will have you paying double or triple plus gas and insurance. I, 28 male, have been with my wife, 29, for 7 years. I love her with all my heart, but I'm upset with her. A little over a year ago, my wife announced she was pregnant. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't jumping for joy at being a father. She was on the pill and, to my knowledge, took it perfectly, but I guess we fell into that 1% where birth control fails. I suggested another option, but she wanted to keep the baby, so we went through with the pregnancy. My whole view has changed now that my son, an infant now, is here. My worries and apprehensions melted away the first time I held him. However, I quickly realized that my wife was not doing her share of childcare. We both work from home, but I'm the only one who gets up when he's crying to feed, change, and soothe him. She didn't want to breastfeed, which is fine, but she's only fed him a handful of times in the past 5 months. In addition, she refuses to get up at night, so all of his nighttime care is on me. I can count on one hand the number of diapers she's changed. I was initially lenient because I understand birth is very taxing on the body and can be traumatic, but I've seen no improvement in the past 5 months despite talking to her multiple times and telling her I need help. I'm exhausted. When I bring it up, she'll say she'll try harder, but she never does. PPD and other mental health issues were an immediate concern, but all of the doctors we went to said she didn't fit the criteria. She loves our son, cuddles him and plays with him, but doesn't do any of the hard work like feeding and diaper changes. She hasn't got up at night a single time. I reached the end of my rope today when my son wouldn't stop crying. I was doing my best to soothe him, and my wife dared to look up from the TV and complain that he was being too loud and take him into another room. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I yelled at her and told her she was a horrible mother. She was deeply upset by this and went to stay with her parents, leaving my son and me at home. Now she's calling me an idiot and has my in-laws texting and calling me to tell me how much of an idiot I am. I'm just so tired. I feel like a single parent. I feel bad because I know what I said was mean, but I'm also so angry that she's enjoying the good parts of parenting while I'm stuck with the hard parts. She goes out with friends, does fun things, and partakes in her hobbies while I stay home with our baby. I have not gotten a day to myself in months. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Her reaction upon being called a bad mum was to leave you and the baby alone. I think she basically proved your point. If she genuinely does not have anything wrong with her, then she's just a horrible mother and maybe you should consider getting full custody. My exact reaction too is that she took the comment as an excuse to leave and not bring the baby with her. Maybe she refused the termination as a way to trap him into being a part of her life forever. I don't know this, obviously, but to be so consistent with birth control because you don't want a baby, then to suddenly get pregnant and want to be a hands-off mother, seems weird. In all honesty, if you were to switch you and your wife in this tale, it would be a highly typical story of what many women experience with their postpartum husbands, which would trigger a unanimous husband is the idiot. It hits hard seeing a mother act this way. Honestly, you are a single parent right now. I wish you the best. My friend of 3 years, Bex, house sat for me this past week. I agreed to pay her $50 a day to do so. She was home with my low-maintenance dog and stayed in the guest room. Or so I thought. Bex hurried out when I got home, telling me to PayPal her the money once I settled in. When I got into my room, it became very obvious that Bex slept in the main bedroom, my bed. I was quite put off by this because I have a guest bedroom with a queen bed which is more than sufficient, and I told her to stay out of my bedroom. Yes, the master bedroom does have a king, but that's not what I offered her. I immediately took off the sheets as she was packing up, and as I did, I noticed something on the duvet cover near the bottom. It was nail polish. I called and asked her what the heck. She said she'd fallen asleep on top of the duvet with nails that weren't quite dry. I asked her why she didn't tell me, and she said that she didn't think it was a big deal because she could flip the duvet cover. The duvet has two good sides, but now my duvet has a bunch of red nail polish on it on one side. My duvet was around $250 and I have a receipt for it, so I want to take the cost from the pay I was to send her with a copy of the duvet cover receipt. I told Bex I didn't think it was fair for me to pay the full house sitting rate, $350, when she'd ruined something expensive of mine, $250, in an area I'd set as off limits, my bedroom. She says this was a risk I took having someone stay in your home and she really can't afford to have me underpay her. She even said that she would tell our mutuals I'd stiffed her if I didn't pay her the full amount. I told her I felt I was only obligated to pay her $100, $350 minus the $250 duvet, and she told me to screw right off and to think carefully about my choices, and hung up on me. If she wrecked my guest suite's duvet, I would cover the duvet cost. That one was $75 and it's where I told Bex to sleep. But she ignored me, slept in my bed and ruined my stuff without my permission to be there. She wrecked my duvet cover that she should have been nowhere near. I will never have Beck's house sit again. She also smoked weed in the house. I have a covered patio with a sofa and it was nice weather all week and she never walked my dog. The doorbell camera never has her leaving with the dog. I don't think I want to be her friend after this, so I wonder if that's biasing me in not wanting to pay her in full after she wrecked my duvet. So, am I the idiot for deducting the duvet cost from her pay? Not the idiot, but if you're going to do that, give her the duvet. Leave it on her stoop door with a paper check marked paid in full. She can 100% have it. You hired her to take care of your home and dog, and she did neither, damaging one and neglecting the other. Why would you pay for a service she didn't provide? This, but also take pictures of the damage, so should other friends ask, you have it. I would also have lunch with a few of the more trusted friend group and tell them you are conflicted because of what happened, so they hear your side before she starts bashing you to them. That's the risk you take when having someone at your house. What the heck, Bex? It's super rude to not only go into someone's bedroom against their wishes, but then to sleep in the bed and decide to paint their nails on the bed, then to top it all off by not telling you. The icing on the cake is not walking the dog she was hired to care for. That's no friend. Give her 100 and the duvet and cut contact.